I'm Mitzi Borromeo, and this is Good Vibes Today, GVTV. Thanks for all the great feedback on the first show and for all the good vibes you've been sending my way. I absolutely love hearing from you and having this Good Vibes community, the Good Vibes Tribe, GVT. So here we are in the second month of the so-called enhanced community quarantine or lockdown. I hope you're all okay. Despite the difficulties, let's try to keep the good vibes going. And there's definitely a lot of it going around. For starters, the bayanihan spirit is still burning strong. The international humanitarian organization Tsuchi Foundation donated an additional 9 tons of medical supplies to hospitals around the country. That's equivalent to about 9 elephants. Tsuchi has also been donating rice to families in underprivileged communities. Top business groups, in cooperation with the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation and Caritas Manila, raised over 1.6 billion pesos through Project Ugnayan, providing aid to over 7 million of the poorest Filipinos in Greater Metro Manila displaced by the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine. As you know, the sports world is also reeling from the COVID-19 pandemic. Last month, the Philippine Basketball Association canceled games and other activities, including the PBA Philippine Cup. Alaska head coach Jeffrey Carriazo launched a donation drive to help PBA's non-regular personnel who rely on the games for their daily allowances. On social media, Carriazo shared his goal to make up at least 2 months' worth of wages for those relying heavily on the games. And Spiderman to the rescue! The web slinger was spotted handing out food on the streets of Manila. This is part of Vice President Lenny Robredo's Angat Buhay program initiative with Hey Homies condominiums. Now, this story from Reyna Ominga got a lot of us emotional and maybe even craving for pizza. Reyna shared this touching story on Facebook about a Pizza Hut delivery guy, Raymund Papellero, using his tip money to buy bread to give people in need on the streets along his delivery routes from his Pizza Hut Araneta Center Cubao branch. The post went viral, catching the attention of Amado Araneta Foundation. The foundation named the 34-year-old pizza delivery guy, who's had that job for 11 years, as one of the living heroes in their COVID-19 inspiring stories. Let's catch Raymond on his way home from work to know more.
Hi Raymond! So ano ang pakiramdam mo ngayon na tinuturing ka ngayon isang bayani, living hero nga daw?
Nakaka-inspire.
So,
Hindi ko alam na
hindi mo akalain mangyayari ito, no?
naging hindi ko na-expect na kahit na ano. Basta ang gusto ko lang talaga mamigay na.
Ba't mo naisip na mamigay ng tinapay sa mga nakikita mo dyan nga sa daan mo?
Kung mag-deliver na ako, marami talaga akong nakikita nasa labas na nangingi talaga. Halos hiningi nila pagkain. Kaya nagsimula ako, yung talaga sa ano, yung pamilya talaga na nahintuan ko na may kasamang 2 bata. Tapos yung 2 bata umiiyak. Kaya parang walang-wala talaga sila makain. Kaya hindi ko nagsimulang magbili ng tinapay. Tapos parang marami ko naalala sa buhay ko. Kaya ko ginagawa sa...
Naalala mo yung kabataan mo rin sa Cebu?
50 to 70 person na pamamahigian ko.
Anong mga kwento nila? Nakakausap mo rin sila eh.
Talagang nag-aapag ko talaga sila sa sakali. Pero kahit may mga sariling bahay. Pero ang pina-priority ko, talaga yung mga walang-wala talaga.
Wala pa silang nakuha sa gobyerno.
Yun po. Tapos iba, daan pa guardia. Ganyan.
Oo.
Minsan, guardia. Minsan, kailangan din nila ng merienda. Binibigyan. Kasi, minsan daw, wala talaga daw sila mabilhin.
Kumbaga, yung binibigyan mo tinapay, yan lang talaga yung nakakain nila.
Opo, minsan.
Wow. So, isa ka talagang bayani, Raymond. Salamat sa ginagawa mo. Sa gitna ng paghihirap natin ngayon, di ba paghihirap ngayon dahil sa mga lahat na nangyayari dahil sa pandemic, anong kabutihan ang maidudulot naman sa lahat nito?
Hanggang kayo tumulong tayo. Kahit pagkain lang, makasurvive man lang, kahit ilang oras. Masaya na pa ako pag pinapasalamatan pa ako, ganyan.
Oo.
Nakakataba ko ng puso, kahit wala akong kapalit.
Maraming salamat, Raymond. Ang dami mo rin saya at inspirasyon binibigay sa amin. Ingat ka!
Raymond's story reminds us that no matter how tough things may be, even in the most troubling times, there is still much to be grateful for and to celebrate. Like these 107-year-old women, the oldest COVID-19 survivors. Cornelia Ras from the Netherlands contracted the virus at a church service and did not expect to recover. Havahan Karadenis from Turkey recovered from COVID-19 a week after, when she was discharged from the hospital to applause. Another centenarian, this 101-year-old Holocaust and Spanish flu survivor, also beat COVID-19. Over 600,000 people have recovered worldwide from the new coronavirus, much more than deaths caused by the virus. So we know that the elderly are among the most vulnerable to COVID-19, and in many parts of the world, they're feeling lonelier and more helpless with the lockdowns. Audrey Esteban, based in the Netherlands, shared this wonderful story about two young students at a music academy. Classic guitar student Adric Cristobal and opera student Florence Chong braved the biting wind and cold weather to serenade the elderly at a retirement home. According to their school, Conservatorium Maastricht, this project aims to fight the loneliness the elderly experience during this pandemic. Community is crucial in times like this. Knowing we have a support system can truly boost our spirits and help us overcome adversity. In the US, Ashley Lawrence, who studies deaf education, started making masks with a plastic window to show the wearer's mouth, so that American Sign Language speakers could still use lip reading for communication. We're also hearing good news about vaccine trials in the works, as well as all sorts of possible treatments for COVID-19. And all that information can be overwhelming. I mean, we're getting so much forwarded information, reading so many things online, on the news, who knows what to believe, right? That's why science is so crucial in helping us filter through all that noise. We need science to get us through this pandemic. For those intimidated by the jargon, science writers like Maria Isabel Garcia help us understand and appreciate all the information, putting them into easily digestible chunks for us. Maribel has been writing a weekly science column for Rappler since 2012. Maribel also heads a science and art foundation, the Bonifacio Art Foundation, which runs a science museum, the Mind Museum, and the BGC Art Center. She joins us now.
Hi, Val. Good to see you again.
Hi, Mitzi.
Obviously, we are learning something new every day about the coronavirus, and I think scientists have been working double time to really find a cure or a vaccine. But definitely, it will take some time to go back to normal. What would it take for Filipinos to come, to have this sense of normal once again?
First of all, I've always had a problem with the word normal. I really like I forgot his name, but I was watching BBC yesterday. He was very thoughtful and he said, maybe we can't really go back to normal because normal was the problem.
Yes.
We are always tethering on something new and something tried before every single day of our lives. This is just on rapid pace. The difference is that this is happening to us all at the same time. Yes. And then it happened also suddenly. So in terms of the new normal, based on the studies locally, if we are able to identify, based on the enough testing, which are the hotspots, then we would be able to contain them using technology by tracking who have been there, where will they go, who have they been in contact with, and thus doing projections.
Yes.
If we are able to do that and be ahead of that kind of movement, then we will be able to have some sort of new normal as to how we will be able to deal with each other socially. Only then can we do that if we rely on the sciences to give us the data that we need and for technology to be able to apply it.
UP COVID-19 Pandemic Response Team, they're already exploring the possibility of an extended, what they call a modified community quarantine. So we have to be ready for the possibility of some kind of extension. As you said, this may mean tempering how we interact with other people. You wrote about this in one of your recent columns. In your April 12 column, you wax poetic on the end of the handshake. May I ask you to read a little something?
We cannot shake it off, the fear of touching another hand once again, gripping it firmly to seal an encounter with the other. Would there ever be a gesture more equal, more available and ready than a hand swinging from the side of one's rib to meet another? Look at your hands. They once met another's, so many countless others. Say goodbye to that hand. Birth a new gesture that speaks to another. For now, or maybe forever.
Those words are very just apt for what we're going through now. Everyone is going through some isolation. They're saying that mental health is affected by this. What does science say about this kind of isolation? What lessons are we learning? What is this teaching us to kind of give us hope to move forward?
Many psychologists and other philosophers are really bearing on this kind of crisis that is happening inside our homes or wherever we're sheltered right now, because it's really prolonged. And I can probably share in terms of what I've experienced with my friends and in terms of the groups I'm involved with. And we all seem to come up with the same thing, that this really reveals some kind of bare honesty among all of us in terms of dealing with each other. Also, the vulnerability, I think, can be transformed. If you know Renee Brown, I really like her.
She talks about
exalts vulnerability. Really, when we look at on the times when we were most courageous, it was when we were most vulnerable. So maybe you will find that courageous self you have been looking for all this time in your life during this time. And now nobody has any excuse to say that they don't have time to think deeply. But now everybody's got time on their hands to think deeply. And if you derive joy from mostly lateral living, you have a problem now, because you can't do breath now. You have to do depth. You have to do dives. So getting to know your dog more deeply, getting to know skills that you would not have mined otherwise.
So it's making deeper connections, whether it's with other people, with ourselves, with nature. And I want to ask you, because we are celebrating Earth Month, Earth Day on April 22, and it's also allowing us to look at the Earth. We're seeing how the air pollution has reduced because of less activity out on the roads. You are also chair of WWF-Philippines. Can you share a message that you'd like everyone to keep in mind as we go through this very difficult time that might help us reflect on our planet and our place in it?
On April 22, with the Mind Museum, Greenpeace, and the World Wildlife Fund, we're going to live stream a talk so that we can all together harness collective wisdom to co-create what this new normal would be, knowing that the old normal had many problems, fundamental problems about how we deal with ourselves and nature, and that we are part of nature. Yeb Sanyo, who heads Greenpeace, would join me in a talk trying to forge this new deal with ourselves and with nature to co-create the normal that we would like for us to have. Even during this pandemic, not just right after.
I liked your tagline that you used for Earth Hour last March, change the ending. You're putting the power in our hands. We can change the ending.
Yes, that's the collective thing that we're going to push forward, that we can still change the ending. Conservation should all be our second nature. And the second nature should be the human response, to be able to look at nature as part of ourselves, and that anything to do with it will strike us back in a response that has nothing to do with morality. It just does what it does.
And no politics.
No politics. The virus is not even a living thing. It doesn't have a brain. Okay? This is not some punishment that nature is giving us. It is just responding to what we have done to it. We have laid bare forests and oceans. So naturally, they say, oh, you're part of this too? Okay, we're going to, you invade us, you do. Oh, an additional host for us. So it's just a natural response. It has nothing to do with, oh, you have been really bad. But of course, we as human beings know that breaking into nature in forested lands and places that we should consider as preserved or conserved will have to stay that way. And the sacrifices for that has nothing to do with a trade-off.
Yes.
That has a value. And the value is this. Just look at the reverse of a pandemic. That is the value. That is the value of looking at nature the other way, not the way we did it during normal times.
To put into perspective what Maribel was saying, this clearly shows what it means to appreciate the little things we tend to take for granted during normal times. According to Fox 46, the grandfather, Michael Davis, wrote in a Facebook post with this video, "When your granddaughter asks to hug her father, one of America's heroes, you make it happen." Let's not forget other frontliners like our garbage collectors who are not getting as much attention, as Yeb Sanyo calls out in a Facebook post. At a hospital in Barcelona, Spain, healthcare workers thanked cleaning staff with loud applause for their work during the pandemic. And this tribute to frontliners from the Pasig City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office captures our sentiments towards our heroes perfectly.
Aming taus-pusong pasasalamat sa lahat po ng mga medical doctors, nurses, maintenance and sanitation workers, security guards, at sa lahat po ng mga healthcare workers. Narito po kami ngayon upang maghandog ng isang awitin at magbigay pugay sa inyong dedikasyon at kasipagan. Ito po ay isang paraan ng aming pagsaludo sa inyong kabayanihan at pasasalamat sa di matatawarang paglilingkod nyo sa ating mga kababayan.
We salute you, frontliners, and all the volunteers helping those in need, and all of you staying at home to flatten the curve. Now, some of you, including my friend Jetro, suggested having these guys, the dogs, regularly on GVTV. I think it's a great idea. So here they are. This is Dr. Scotty, the therapy dog, and his little sidekick, Wolfie. They here on GVTV, they represent mental health and well-being, which we really need to be more mindful of during these uncertain times. There are a lot of studies showing the benefits of pet ownership on health and well-being. And I've been reading about how pets are helping people through the coronavirus crisis, providing companionship, consistency, and joy. These guys really do that for me, keeping me grounded, sane, and active. Whether it's a pandemic or no pandemic. I said it before and I will say it again. There's a lot we can learn from dogs. Let's go back to my conversation with Maria Garcia on that.
I know you're also a dog lover. What are you learning about Gravity, your dog, now that you're spending more time with him?
What you learn is, like nature, like the virus, the dog doesn't care about the pandemic or not.
Yes.
It just cares about you being around and treats. Yeah, and just staring at you the same way they do, even without the pandemic. So there are things that are really constant. And I think it's people like us who have to be still to know that there are things that are really constant. Despite the uncertainty, there are really things that you can count on.
Yes.
Like gravity, the literal gravity. I don't.
And you can count on GVTV to keep bringing you the good stuff. That's your dose of good vibes today. Thanks for watching. This is Mitzi Borromeo with Scotty and Wolfie, reminding you to be safe, be grateful, be kind, and keep spreading good vibes.